Hi and welcome to another edition of Mum's the Word here on Channel Mum. This is the show where we're not afraid to tackle any subject to do with parenting, sometimes the tough subjects that can divide parents. Today we're going to talk about routine. Is it really important in your house or is it something that you just absolutely can't stand? Before we talk about it, let me introduce you to the girls. We've got Stacey, Lucy and Ashlyn. Hello sweetheart, that's a lovely smile, and Kate as well. But before we talk about routine, let's go to the streets of the UK and find out what you think.
I think routine's really important when it comes to things like sleep with your kids because it kind of adds that familiarity that they need when they're so little. I think routine, they thrive on it, although it's not so rigid that we can't mix it up every now and then. I think that's also important. But yeah, for me, a routine has made things a hell of a lot easier.
Not until now. I'm just going to start maybe in 2 weeks to do a bedtime routine. But until now, I just was led more like what she needed when she needed to sleep, and I just followed what she wanted to do. So
with Dexter, we got into a routine a little bit later with having a 3-year-old as well. I just found it really hard, and it was just trying to juggle both and make sure he was in a routine was just really hard. But the first time with Dylan, I did a lot of the baby whisperer type things. So sort of like listening into your baby, seeing what they were doing, and then sort of going with that. So I've kind of done the same with Dexter really. So I've not forced him into anything Gina Ford style. I've just sort of watched when he gets tired, when he wants to feed, and then I'm just trying to sort of instill that a little bit more, so just listening to him really.
We instilled a routine pretty early on, and then I found as we got older now I can start to not be so strict because it's already in place.
We do. Yeah. It's worked really well for us. We've really sort of stuck to it, and touch wood, he's been a really good sleeper. And that's worked for me. We don't have so much of a routine during the day with naps and things, but bedtime we have quite a solid thing. Bath, story, bed.
So it seems that most people are fairly pro some kind of routine, even if it's only, the bedtime part of the day. What do you girls think? Is routine a big thing in your houses?
Routine in my house is yes. Jacob, we literally plan our whole day around Jacob's nap time. He has to have his nap time in a Pacific time. Otherwise, he is so moany. It's just horrible. It's not fun. There's no point me going out. I'm really, really stressed out. He's really tired. I feel like I'm just bringing him around, bless him, and he's shattered. So for us, we plan everything around Jacob's nap time. We have missed family functions, christenings, literally everything for Jacob's nap time.
Really?
100%.
I was just going to say, so if I invited you to lunch at midday,
Yep.
you'd turn me down?
100%. And I would tell you the reason why as well.
Really?
Nope, his nap time, yeah, 100%. Where with Rika, it was completely different. And she was a really moany and miserable child, to be honest with you. I used to try and keep her up because our family was really old fashioned and said you shouldn't let them nap during the day and then they sleep really good at night, which was horrendous, and it never worked for us.
So do you think you learned from Rika, or was it more that you just read that Jacob is a different child?
Jacob is a completely different child. He needs to nap in his bed. He won't do it in his chair. He won't sleep anywhere else other than in his own cot.
Right, okay. Lucy?
Yeah, I really am a bit of a stickler for routine. I think, obviously I've got 3 children, so routines make our world go round. If we didn't have set times where people slept, it would all just descend into chaos quite quickly. Although I would say when they're babies, particularly with this one, I kind of took the sort of stance of going with the flow and seeing where we went, and she kind of found a bit of a routine of her own. Mm-hmm. I think babies like routine. Children like routine. Children like to know what their boundaries are. They like to know, have a clear framework to kind of live in, and I think it's really important for kids that they know when bedtime is, that they're expected to go to sleep, when they can expect to eat next. I think they behave better when they know what to expect.
Okay, I can see you nodding. Are
I'm
you
nodding
very
along.
pro-routine as well?
I am. I mean, we read all of the baby books and read up on it, and it said, you should really start to get them in a routine after 6 weeks, and we took that very literally. So I think looking back, we were even a bit too strict. We were like, right, he needs to go to sleep at this time, have his bath, bottle, bed, and luckily it worked for us. I completely understand that doesn't work for everybody and every child's different, but he's great with the routine. He goes to bed at a certain time, he has his naps at a certain time, and I roughly know exactly how long they're going to be. I know when he's going to wake up, so it just works for him. And I do kind of read the signs that he's maybe tired as well, and it just so happens that it is when his nap times are. We've kind of just worked it out as we go along, and now that he's 20 months, we've got into a really, really good routine.
Okay, so all three of you are actually quite similar.
However, I didn't actually make the routine myself. I let him do it.
Right.
It wasn't me that said I have to put him down at 1, and I didn't ever do that. He just fell into his own routine, and I just worked with it.
But you've all sort of said perhaps you wouldn't go to something if it was nap time and things like that.
See, I probably would a little bit more. I kind of feel like rules are made to be broken, and I think when we go on holidays or if we've got a busy weekend, I'll throw it out the window. But when I get back, I will fight tooth and nail to get back in that routine again, because I know that that's what makes our lives easier.
Yeah.
So
I think I'm probably the one who's a bit different for this subject. In the very early days, you know, I'd read the same books and things like that, and my child was quite resistant to sleep. And I realised quite quickly that if I didn't get myself out of the house every single day when he was young, that I could feel myself slipping into depression.
Yeah.
I got the baby blues very seriously, and the only thing that picked me up was getting out of the house, getting fresh air, taking myself shopping, going for coffee with friends, going to baby groups. I did something every day. I don't now because things have relaxed. So I have to say that Noah doesn't really have a strict daytime routine.
But did it affect him in any way?
Well,
was he fine?
He was sleeping in the pram, he would sleep in the car seat,
Yeah.
he would sleep in his cot. There was a time when he would sleep on the sofa next to me when he was a really,
just
small baby.
tired.
Yeah, and I used to see his cues and try and get him down. But for me, I have got friends who won't go out at certain times, and I've seen them get quite depressed. So for me, it was really my mental health. It was more important for me to get out than to have a nap routine for Noah. Perhaps it would be to my detriment. Our bedtime routine is spot on, but at daytimes, I'd rather go shopping. Sounds awful, doesn't it? So that's what we do, and that's what we think of routines. Let's find out what the rest of the Channel Mum team think about routines.
I love routines. I think they're very important. I think the kids love them. I love them. I think my husband loves them. And to be honest, everyone knows where they're going. And I take Harry to school in the morning, and then we come home and I nurse Charlie, put him to bed, and I find that if he skips a nap, then it makes him very grumpy and it kind of snowballs the rest of the day.
All up for routine. Ever since Ellie was a baby, I tried to get her in a routine as soon as possible, really. I think it just works really well for them. I think babies in general do like a routine, so they kind of know what's happening.
For us, we're very, very pro-routine in our house. We just find that our children are generally happier and they thrive more on having a routine. If we don't have one, we all generally get a bit tired and a bit agitated, and so a routine definitely works for us.
I am definitely pro-routine, however we only use routine for nap times and bedtime. During the day, when it comes to like meal times and activities, we're a lot less strict with that because things don't always go to plan. Days are different. I don't want him freaking out because we're not eating at that time or we're not eating there, whatever.
We don't follow a strict routine. We tried the whole Gina Ford thing at the beginning and that drove me insane. I thought it was horrible. It was the worst thing ever. Stressed out everybody. We decided to not have a routine that was strict, just to follow patterns. And because these were changing all the time with as she developed and her nap times changed, the way she was eating changed, the amount of time she would nap for and the number of times she would nap a day, all that would change. So it's easier to go with the flow and just feel what she needs.
My 10-month-old did not have a routine for about 7 months maybe. We just would go with the flow. He'd sleep when he wanted to sleep, and it got really hard. And so now we stick to routine. I know what time he goes to sleep. He has a nap at 10, he has another nap at 4, and then he'll go to sleep at 8. And it is so much better for everyone.
So that's what the Channel Mum team had to say. I think quite similar to what you guys have said. Routine is important. You know, children know what's coming next. They like to know what's coming next, which is what you guys all said. How about what Lynn said? So Lynn found that a routine really stressed her family out.
I found it really stressed her out trying to have a routine, because for me, not having a routine would stress me out.
See, I can understand what she's saying in some ways. For me, because I kind of let Jacob tell me when he wanted a nap. If I had to say, okay, 1 o'clock, I'm putting him down because that's what I want to do, I think that would stress me out. And he's not falling asleep. I think that would kind of stress me out. That's why I just left it to him to tell me when he wants to nap, sort of thing. So I can understand that. But I know she also mentioned like food, having like routine around food. She doesn't do that. See, I don't do that.
See, I put routine everything.
I'm a little bit more relaxed when it comes to food and things like that. With sleep and bedtime as well. I'm a little bit more structured. But also, routines change so much. They don't set a routine when they're a couple of months old and they're still the same when they're toddlers. They're changing all the time, and then you have to adapt to that new routine. And then that works for a little while, and then you find that that's not working, so you have to try something else.
Yeah, because I've found as well though that I feel that Noah is becoming quite adaptable, because I've sort of haven't, you know, pinned him down to a certain routine. He's quite adaptable in different situations. He goes to nanny and granddad's and might sleep at a different time and is fine. He now goes to nursery, but he only goes 2 days a week. He does a 2.5 hour sleep there. I don't know why I'm paying for nursery. But he doesn't do it at home. But so what, for me, maybe a little bit like Lynn, I kind of feel that because I haven't been, you know, like routine during the day, he's fairly adaptable in different situations. However, I am actually like the routine police when it comes to nighttime, because I feel that he really needs that. So we have dinner, bath, feed, bed.
All the same time every day.
Times can change, you know, because sometimes, you know, if you've had a friend round, or if I've been working, you can't always have it to the minute, can you?
No.
But within the hour, you know, that he goes to bed.
You know when they're ready, I think.
See, that's the reason though why my whole day is a routine, because it's all about the knock-on effect to the next thing, so that everybody's in bed for 7.
Yeah.
So if the afternoon nap is a bit late, then tea ends up being a bit late. So everything has to kind of work at the right... I mean, obviously I have 3 children to contend with, and I have school runs and things to build into that. But everything kind of has to happen at a specific time, or it doesn't happen.
But what happens in your day if something out of the ordinary happens? I don't know, if suddenly because you work from home, if a big job comes in, or I don't know, a friend just turns up on the doorstep. Does everything fall apart if like you don't have the routine?
Rules are made to be broken, and I will, every now and again it has to go out the window, but there are certain bits in the routine that might give a little bit easier. So if things are going a bit awry, we might have a really easy quick dinner rather than something that takes a lot of time, or we might scrap bath for the night and go straight into pyjamas.
You can speed it up a little bit, can't you?
That is literally as risky as we get. But it just, there's obviously always wiggle room, because it's children and you never know how it's all going to pan out.
How about you, Kate? Do you find, you know, if you've got in-laws round, or I don't want you to dub the in-laws in, I don't mean that, but you know, family round, and perhaps they don't understand that you need to get Archie to bed. How do you deal with that?
That can be hard, because family, they want to see him, they go off and they're not having to get him into bed, or, you know, dealing with the overtired toddler. They're just there when it's all fun and games. So of course they want to see him, so they think, oh, what's another half an hour? But then you're thinking, oh, well, if he's gone down for his nap later, then he's going to get up later, he's going to have his lunch later, and like you say, it's the knock-on effect for the whole day, and it just puts them out.
And I definitely find if my children go to bed late, they get up earlier.
Definitely. So, Kate, are you quite strict with other people and say, no, we need to leave?
No.
Are you like Stacey saying, go to the christenings?
No, I'm really bad. I just think, okay, you know, just this one day go with the flow, and then I just have to deal with it later and afterwards. I'm like, I wish I hadn't have done that. I wish I was a little bit more, you know, vocal and a little bit, no, we've got to do this now. But life's a bit too short sometimes,
It is too short. So that is our take on the whole routine thing. But let us know what you think. Perhaps you have a routine in your house that really works and you'd like to let us know about it. So tell us in the comment section below. Don't forget as well to like this video, and of course subscribe to Channel Mum so you never miss an episode of Mum's the Word. Perhaps as well you feel really strongly, and even you might have a routine that works so well in your house that you would like to share it with other parents. Make your own video. We would absolutely love to see it. Then tag us in on our social channels. And thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again soon.